Now, this is why I say to avoid any kind of medical treatment if you can, if it's avoidable, while you're incarcerated, while you're in prison, while you're in custody of the state or the government to whatever degree. Let me take you guys down to a place called RMC, which stands for Reception and Medical Center, here in Lake Butler, Florida. Now, I've done plenty of videos on RMC, Lake Butler, Florida, to which everybody has this notorious story that they carry around about a jar of gold teeth that was knocked out of all the inmates that they kept on display to show everybody, hey, listen, you want to fuck off? This is exactly what happens. Now, being that this was one of the primary medical facility treatment places in Florida, this is where you'd go if you needed surgery. This is where you'd go if you're on dialysis. This is where you'd go for anything that requires a specialist sort of medical attention. And although they have delegated areas to which you kind of post-op recovery, things of that nature, it's not necessarily the most sanitary place to be in prison. Staph infections run rampant. The conditions, you're around like 70 other people at times. The cell conditions aren't necessarily clean. The dorms aren't that clean. There's rats running around everywhere. It is not an ideal place to have a medical condition at. And not to say that they would deny you treatment, but a lot of times if you bring up the subject to a certain staff member, a lot of the times you're just kind of looked down upon because everybody has a medical ailment. A lot of people try to use medical ailments to get out of certain jobs, working, things of that nature. But I knew one guy who got surgery on his spine and had nerve damage like for the rest of his life, to the point where he could barely utilize his hands. He can't grip barely anything. I mean, he had no usage of his hands to even be able to clip his own nails. And honestly, the only thing that he had hope for was winning in a lawsuit that he had against the state, but that's not going to bring the use of his hands back. Now, I have only known of one individual that was actually released from prison because of his medical condition, and he was a terminal cancer patient. He actually had brain cancer, and he didn't even have that much time left on his sentence. He had like a year left to go, and they were still hesitant about letting him out, but eventually they did, and he ended up passing away. But just trust me when I say just stay the fuck out of prison, because the medical sucks. Even though it might be cheaper in there, just pay full price for it out here. I promise you it's a lot better quality.